that we've been handed down until we reach the top. Ain't no time for sport and play, and we ain't gon' never stop till the money got our face. Billionaire visions, generational wealth. Gotta break the curses that we've been handed down until we reach the top. Ain't no time for sport and play, and we ain't gon' never stop till the money got our face. That's the dream. I paint the picture, the first self-made billionaire who came from prison. Marriage is arranged, interlocking bonds. Link up the genes, keep the blood flowing strong. Handing down the knowledge, safeguard the traditions. Military style weapons for protection. State of the art, high-tech connections. Tailor-made jewelry, diamond mine investments. Real estate in multiple states across continents. Multinational corps and conglomerates. Felons with passports, memberships and resorts. Civil rights back plus gun rights from the course. Meet a boss, from rags to riches, from the clinks to the streets. I had the vision like ancient Kemetic kings, building monumental structures. No time for sport and play, and we ain't gon' never stop till the money got our face. Billionaire visions, generational wealth. Gotta break the curses that we've been handed down until we reach the top. Ain't no time for sport and play, and we ain't gon' never stop till the money got our face. Billionaire visions, generational wealth. Gotta break the curses that we've been handed down until we reach the top. Ain't no time for sport and play, and we ain't gon' never stop till the money got our face. Y'all chase money, we chase our...
Yo, peace. It's Law King Wize right here, also known as Wize Shaheed. We here with another edition of Mental Wealth, the podcast. And so this is a day after the election, so this is post-election day. You see a lot took place. Saw the Democrats take a lot of seats up and down the East Coast, from New York, New Jersey, Virginia. You saw a lot of Democratic victories. What does that mean for you? Okay, you got those people that they're saying they're Democrats, they've been elected. Okay, now what? It's the day after. Now what we're going to see? Ultimately, it all comes down to you taking the initiative as an individual and forming meaningful relationships that gives you, your family, your community access to resources that allow you, your family, and your community to evolve and grow and expand, where it could be an environment where you can continue to experience love, peace, and happiness. And if you're not experiencing that, for you to be able to experience that. So that's what it all comes down to when it comes to politics. Politics without having relationships, you just voting without having any type of meaningful relationships connected to your vote. To me, I call that, it really doesn't make any sense. But this is not what this is about today. Oh, and let me tell you a quick story. So for those who've been on different episodes, listening and watching, and you hear me talk about the gravity and how gravity affects everybody the same way, whether it's a baby or old lady. And I've been talking about this for some time. And so just last night, I'm on the couch, sitting there with my young princess, my daughter there. And mind you, she's 1. And so she's watching what she's watching on TV, and she's singing along. And I was like, engaging with her for a moment. And then I went back and was looking at something on my phone. She's sitting there, and she know how to get off the couch. She can turn around and get down. She's sitting up there. And then all of a sudden I hear something go boom. And I'm like, oh, wow. She done hit the floor just that fast. And so that's what I was talking about. And I was like, I've been talking about this and saying, how gravity affects everybody the same way. And now look, my little princess is there on the floor. She was crying and everything, but we got her up, you know, and she recuperated. She wasn't really hurt like that. Nevertheless, that's how easy it could take place. That's how fast it could take place when we're talking about the impact of just certain principles of life, certain rules, things that are built into the reality of life itself. So I'm going to take a quick pivot. This podcast was really not supposed to be about what I'm about to talk about. But since this came up, I'm going to talk about it. And what I'm talking about is I'm going to share my screen. I want to share something with you where it's a comment that came up from a short that I shared from yesterday when I was everything, literally lost everything. I was interviewing Born, which is someone who I mentored, and also he became one of my business partners. So I wanted to just wait a minute, show something right quick. Okay, you can see that. But what I wanted to show though is this comment about this. First, I'm gonna let you hear this part right here. We can hear what's being said. Literally was homeless because if you get caught up in the criminal justice system, you justice impacted. So you lose even your voting rights. So these are things that were lost. And now you starting basically from scratch. But what you still got that you didn't lose was your mind. Practically lost everything. So literally lost everything. Right here. Literally was homeless. It's a comment, right? Because if you get caught up in the criminal justice system, you justice impacted. So you lose even your voting rights. So these are things that were lost. And okay, I don't know if you can see this comment right here. Okay, wait a minute. Let's maximize this comment. Let me see what it looks like over here. What it's looking like. Even if you can't see it that way, I'm going to read it out anyway. I'm going to read this comment. So maybe you can see it now. Okay, yeah. So what this individual was saying was, he said, hold on, let me make it so you can see the whole thing more. There we go. So in the interview, when I'm speaking with Bourne, I spoke about how his interaction with the criminal justice system, basically is how he ended up losing everything and basically become homeless. When you come home, you're not really coming home to your own residence unless you already had these things established for yourself. You own your own home before you got incarcerated. But if you was staying in an apartment, you was renting and leasing, and then you get incarcerated, your lease, you're not able to keep that going, so you lose those things, and then you come out, you got to start over from scratch. And so in this part right here, I was just basically talking about justice. I just used the term justice impacted. And so when I use that term, we have someone who commented on it a certain way. And their comment is, the term justice impacted is a huge red flag to common sense everyday Americans. Be real blunt. You committed crime to make money or buy drugs. This softening of words to justify bad behavior or reprehensible actions is the real definition of woke. Stop it because it's being a victim or blaming others. It's why this country is where it is right now. This gentleman, I wish all the best to, and is what America is about. The justice system didn't impact him, it opened his eyes and scared him to do better. That what it's truly for. That's how he said it. That what it's truly for. And like I said, the Mental Wealth Podcast was really not set up. We didn't start this. I didn't start this to be addressing these issues specifically like this because it's life biz orientated, showing you how life is business and business is war. And, it's mainly to inspire and provide information for those that are entrepreneurs, up and coming entrepreneurs, seasoned entrepreneurs, those that are leaders in their place of whatever area of life that they travel through, that's leaders in those areas, just bringing about a space where these type of dialogues could take place related to the subject matter of life and business from a perspective of entrepreneurship, leadership, and legacy for the underdog, for the underserved, and for the leaders who address the issues for the underdog and the underserved communities. So we say we're going from underserved to unstoppable. However, just having an interview with someone where I was providing some testimonials, because sometimes you hear people on social media, on podcasts, they talk about a lot of things when it comes to life and business and how they can offer solutions to, specific problems that people have in regards to their life and their business. And keep in mind, I'm a life and business coach. I'm a life biz consultant. I'm a life biz infrastructure strategist. So these are the things that I do. And so therefore I was providing some evidence of the results of how me mentoring, guiding, and providing information, certain knowledge brought about certain transformation. And so this guy, he put in the comment what I just read. So, it struck me a certain way, like, oh, okay. I don't know who he is. I don't know who he is yet. And usually I don't respond to things like this, but I chose to respond to this for a specific reason. Because of course, like I said, yesterday was the election day. This is post-election day, and I saw this comment this morning. And so this is what I responded to with that. Hold on. Let me find my response.
The best part about rock bottom is it's sturdy enough to build on.
Hold on.
You finally get the chance to see who's there, who's not, and who never was. So you can honor those who stayed around long enough to watch you become who you knew you could be. It's only up from here. The best part about rock bottom is it's sturdy.
Here's what banks are trying to hide.
Okay, here we go. Practically lost everything. Literally lost everything. Literally was homeless, right? Because if you get caught up in the criminal justice system, your justice impacted. So you lose even your voting rights. So these are things that were lost. And now you starting basically from scratch, but what you still got that you this is what I responded to your mind. I responded to with practically lost everything. You understand what the literally lost everything means. Literally was homeless. Hold on, right? Let me because keep this over here. When you understand what the 13th Amendment means and the Jim Crow legislation that led to a host of other sophisticated legislation, then you would understand what justice impacted means. I'm gonna say that again. When you understand what the 13th Amendment means and the Jim Crow legislation that led to a host of other sophisticated legislation, then you would understand what justice impacted means. I can call a thing any name, yet it still will operate according to its operational mechanics. You can say gravity or new. The reality of it still mean if you jump up, you will come down. And here's that gravity again, right? Okay. Titles and names are placeholders for a person, place, or thing. Justice impacted, convicted felon, criminal, convict. Donald Trump is a convicted felon, yet he is also the president. Martin Luther King spoke about derivative crimes in his famous A New Sense of Direction. Quote right here. It is incontestable and deplorable that Negroes have committed crimes, but they are derivative crimes. They are born of the greater crimes of white society. End quote. When the U.S. enslaved millions of Africans and destroyed millions of natives, what do you call the government itself that still stands in the same constitution and never paid for the crimes? So, yes, he did do crime in the community. Yes, he paid his price and is now an asset to his community and society at large. But let's all be held accountable. That's real justice. Since you want to talk about justice impacted, not one pharmaceutical company owner has been locked up for the opioid epidemic that caused many lives to be lost. Some fines have been paid, yet nothing that is even close to what street drug dealers face. That's the derivative crimes Dr. King spoke about. And I've learned that no matter what certain people will have, hold on. And I've learned that no matter what, certain people will have their own opinions and perspectives about life. That's why I do what I do. Time will reveal all of who is who and what is what. So that was my response to that. And like I said, this is not really what the mental wealth podcast is really about. Yet to a degree, it is connected to those type of topics. Because I'm not here really to be kicking about politics and stuff like that. Yet you can't really be an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur, and you can't be a successful entrepreneur and not deal with politics. You see what I'm saying? So I'm gonna take a quick pause for a moment and get right back with you on something.
Ideas, convert them to assets that grow in years. Long-term assets for capital gain. We increase the equity, yeah, fuck the fame. Goodwill in the brand, license for the trade. Gulfstream flights matching prices for exchange. Spreading through the markets with the same ambition we had when we were whipping in the kitchen. Crypto digits, tokens, cyberspace riches, a trip to outer space. With Richard Branson, I saw this vision from lockup. We switched up the product, the grams remain the same. Only the product changed, cause a gram is a gram on a scale. Whether cocaine, heroin, or diamonds for the sale. This a major bank mentality. Black coast or no struck.